We all have this mental image of history, right? A long, unwavering line stretching back in time, marked with definitive dates for every major event.
Yeah, it feels solid, fixed.
Exactly. But what if one of those cornerstone dates, a moment so fundamental to our collective story, was actually well off?
Off by a little, or?
Not by a little, potentially by years, maybe even decades. What if the very calendar we use, to mark time has led us astray, and the true timeline is hidden in plain sight, etched in the stars?
That's a pretty radical thought, challenging the bedrock.
It really is. And today, we're embarking on a truly extraordinary deep dive, a journey into the Cosmic Correction and Convergence exegetic hypothesis by independent researcher Andrew Miller.
Right, I've seen his work. He calls it a forensic ledger, doesn't he?
He does. A meticulous recalibration of a pivotal historical event that, well, as we'll see, challenges conventional understanding and uncovers a breathtaking convergence. We're talking astronomy, calendars, history.
All coming together.
All coming together. And we want to approach his work, respectfully as a professional analysis, appreciating that this intricate framework comes from his own insights, his intuitive thought. We're looking at it as a standalone piece.
Taking it on its own terms, not just comparing it immediately. Good approach.
Yeah. So get ready to look up at the night sky with maybe new eyes, because Miller's hypothesis suggests the heavens themselves are a precise, verifiable record, not just some poetic metaphor.
The sky is data. I like that.
Exactly. We'll explore not just what might be different about this timeline, but why these corrections carry such immense weight. We're talking ancient cosmic cycles, surprising historical links, spiritual implications.
And you mentioned a particular focus.
Yes, especially the deep Jewish and Hebrew significance woven throughout this grand recalibration. So let's unravel this cosmic mystery together.
Let's do it. Where do we start?
Okay, part one. Let's set the cosmic stage. We need to talk about the problem of, potentially misdated history.
Right, the baseline.
For nearly 2 millennia, this singular, pivotal, historical event, the crucifixion of Jesus, has been, generally accepted as occurring in 33 AD.
It's the date everyone knows, pretty much.
It's not just a historical footnote, is it? It's foundational in our culture, religion, even how we structure time in the West. It's kind of baked into our consciousness.
Absolutely. Textbooks, sermons, historical accounts. It's everywhere.
But what if this widely accepted date, this seemingly unshakable fact, is actually subtly, maybe fundamentally flawed?
And that's the core of Miller's challenge, right?
Precisely. This is the radical challenge Andrew Miller's research brings to the table. He proposes this traditional 33 AD date isn't like a deliberate error.
Not a conspiracy, but something else.
Yeah, more a consequence of relying too heavily on solar calendar assumptions and maybe theological traditions that, over centuries, have inadvertently overlooked crucial astronomical and calendrical drifts.
Like tiny errors compounding over a long, long time.
Exactly. Think of like a grand cosmic clock that's been subtly losing, say, a fraction of a second every day for 2,000 years. Eventually, you're not just a few minutes off, you're significantly out of sync with the true time.
Which could have massive implications for dating specific events.
Right. And Miller introduces this powerful methodology he calls forensic exegesis.
Forensic exegesis. Sounds serious.
It sounds weighty, yeah, but it's actually quite straightforward in its intention, I think. Imagine a detective examining a crime scene.
Okay.
But instead of fingerprints or DNA, he's looking at celestial movements, calendar algorithms, literal things.
So applying scientific or mathematical logic to historical texts or events?
Pretty much. Applying a literal, unblinking logic to astronomical observations and calendrical calculations to precisely recalibrate historical events. It moves beyond symbolic interpretation, which can be, subjective.
Open to debate, yeah.
And instead strives for verifiable, repeatable, objective data. It's like saying, look, let's stop debating the metaphor for a second and start measuring the universe itself. It's a really compelling shift in perspective, I think.
Using the physical constants as the anchor.
Exactly. At the very core of his Cosmic Correction and Convergence hypothesis is this profound principle: the sky is a ledger.
Not just beautiful, but functional. A record keeper.
Right. What he means isn't poetic license. It's the assertion that celestial mechanics, the predictable, immutable movements of planets, stars, our own Earth combined with verifiable calendar data provide an objective, precise, and ultimately unalterable record for dating events.
Like an accountant's ledger, as you said, but written in orbits and rotations.
Exactly. Debits and credits become alignments and cycles. This is the foundational concept that shifts our perspective from simply interpreting ancient texts to forensically decoding the universe's own timestamp.
It truly is a fascinating and compelling reframe, especially when you consider how ancient civilizations viewed the cosmos. Their lives, their whole existence were just so intertwined with the heavens.
They really lived by the stars, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. They didn't just look at the stars, they lived by them. The stars were their most accurate clocks, their most reliable calendars. I mean, think about it, knowing when to plant, predicting seasons. Their survival, their prosperity depended on an incredibly precise understanding of celestial movements.
They built amazing structures just to track them.
Elaborate systems, megalithic observatories, complex math, all based on the heavens. They genuinely saw the cosmos as a source of truth, of order, deep revelation even.
But they also sensed something wasn't quite right sometimes.
Well, yes. These ancient observers also grappled with this subtle yet profound issue, something they sometimes refer to as the error of the stars.
The error of the stars. What did they mean by that? Not just like a math mistake.
It wasn't merely a technical glitch in their human-made calendars, like miscounting a leap year or something.
Yeah.
It was a deeper, almost existential understanding that over vast stretches of time, human attempts to measure and record history could gradually drift out of sync with the true, unchanging celestial order.
A fundamental misalignment.
Precisely, a subtle but significant discrepancy between heaven's perfect cyclical alignment and the human timeline, which, despite their best efforts, seemed prone to error. This deep-seated error of the stars is absolutely central to Miller's hypothesis. It suggests our historical timelines might have been operating with a fundamental cosmic miscalculation for centuries.
So if I'm getting this, the error of the stars wasn't just, oops, we miscalculated, but a deeper sense that humanity's timeline itself was actually drifting away from some kind of divine or cosmic clock? Is that the right way to think about it?
That's a great way to put it. It's not about human fallibility and simple arithmetic. It's about a fundamental, almost existential drift. They saw the heavens as immutable, right? A perfect timekeeper.
The ultimate standard.
Exactly. So if our human records weren't matching up, it signaled a profound misalignment, not just a clerical error. It's the difference between finding your watch is slightly slow versus realizing the entire concept of time you've been using is fundamentally out of sync with the universe's own rhythm.
Wow. And that distinction really sets the stage for Miller's radical idea, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
And it forces us, you the listener too, to consider the profound implications. What if our entire historical framework, especially for such a crucial event as the Crucifixion, has been operating under this kind of error of the stars?
It shakes things up.
It really does. It fundamentally challenges our assumptions about what we think we know and how we know it. It's a call to re-examine the very foundations of our chronological understanding.
Okay, let's unpack this cosmic mystery then, part 2. Unpacking the astronomical mechanics. Because what Andrew Miller's hypothesis presents isn't just one correction, it's this truly remarkable convergence of 4 independent vectors.
4 distinct lines of evidence, that's key. Yes, independent. Each rooted in different aspects of celestial mechanics or historical record, each with its own calculable adjustment. And the astonishing part is that all, like separate compasses pointing in different ways, somehow point to the exact same spot on the chronological map.
A bullseye from different directions.
Exactly. We're going to start with the most fundamental movement of all, the Earth's own rotation.
Indeed. The first independent vector Miller identifies is what he terms sidereal drift and the resulting temporal displacement.
Okay, break that down. Sidereal drift.
At its core, it involves understanding a subtle yet crucial difference between how we typically measure a day and how the Earth actually spins in space. Most of us live by the solar day, right? Roughly 24 hours.
Sun up again. Simple enough.
That's the time it takes for the Earth to rotate once so the sun appears in the same spot in the sky. However, there's also this sidereal day.
Sidereal, meaning relative to the stars.
Exactly. It's the time it takes for the Earth to complete one full rotation relative to the distant stars. Imagine looking straight up at Sirius tonight. A sidereal day is when Sirius is directly overhead again tomorrow.
And that's different from 24 hours.
It is. It's approximately 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds, which works out to about 86,164 seconds. Now compare that to our solar day of 24 hours, or 86,400 seconds.
So wait, the Earth actually spins a little faster relative to the stars than it does relative to the sun each day.
Precisely. Think about it. While the Earth is spinning, it's also moving along in its orbit around the sun, so it has to spin a little bit extra each day to catch up, so the sun appears in the same position.
Ah, okay, I see.
That tiny difference is incredibly precise, 236 seconds every single day.
Just under 4 minutes.
Right. While that might seem incredibly small, it's a rotationally mandated difference. It happens every day, and it accumulates significantly over vast stretches of time.
Like your watch consistently losing 4 minutes a day, every day, for centuries.
Exactly that analogy. So when Miller projects this daily discrepancy over a period of 2,025 years and 9 months, which is roughly the time from the event in question to modern times.
Okay.
This cumulative time loss due to sidereal drift becomes substantial. It accumulates to approximately 2,021 days.
2,000 days, just from that tiny daily difference.
Just from that. Now, if you convert those 2,021 days into solar years, that's roughly equivalent to about 5.5 solar years.
5.5 years. It's a staggering correction from something as subtle as the Earth's daily spin. I mean, I imagine for many listeners, that alone might sound almost unbelievable. How does Miller address that initial skepticism?
It's a fair question, definitely. And it speaks to the rigor of his approach. He emphasizes that this isn't some arbitrary adjustment he's making up. It's a mathematically mandated, astronomically verifiable calculation.
It's known physics.
It's fundamental physics. This discrepancy is a known and measured phenomenon in astrophysics. The Earth's rotation relative to distant stars is different from its rotation relative to the sun. The accumulation of these daily seconds into years is simply a matter of arithmetic over time.
So the calculation itself isn't controversial. It's applying it historically that's the leap.
Well, it's applying it forensically. What's remarkable is that this mathematical correction, entirely independent of any other factors, shifts an event traditionally dated to 33 AD in solar years back to approximately 27.5 AD in sidereal indexing.
Just like that?
Just like that. This establishes our initial corrected window for investigation, purely based on the Earth's precise movements relative to the cosmos. It's our first big clue, derived purely from what the stars themselves tell us about our planet's movement.
That's a huge shift from sidereal drift alone, an entire 5.5 years, just from the Earth's natural rotation. But as you said, that's just one piece of the puzzle, Vector 1.
Just the beginning.
Next, let's look at how our human-made calendars have historically struggled to keep pace with the true celestial rhythms. Because as brilliant as they were, our ancestors also introduced some, well, systemic errors.
This brings us very neatly to the second independent vector, Julian calendar drift and date realignment.
The Julian calendar. Julius Caesar, right?
That's the one. Promulgated in 45 BCE. For many centuries, the Western world operated on it. And it was revolutionary for its time, establishing a year length of 365.25 days with a leap year every 4 years.
Which sounds pretty close.
It was a good approximation, much better than what came before, but it had an inherent systemic error that accumulated over time.
Okay, what was the error?
The problem was that the true solar year, the actual time it takes for the Earth to complete one orbit around the sun, is just a bit shorter than 365.25 days. It's precisely 365.2422 days.
Wow, that's a tiny difference, like less than 12 minutes a year.
Tiny, yes. Doesn't seem like much day to day. But over generations and centuries, it really adds up. This discrepancy causes the calendar to drift by one full day, approximately every 128 years.
So the calendar dates slowly start to misalign with the actual season. Spring starts earlier than the calendar says, eventually.
Exactly. If you don't correct for that, your calendar seasons start to shift against the astronomical seasons. Easter starts drifting, for example, which is why we eventually got the Gregorian calendar reform.
Okay, so this drift is critical. How does it factor into Miller's calculation?
If we apply this known drift rate over the same 2025-year period we discussed earlier, the cumulative error from the Julian calendar's inaccuracy amounts to a considerable 15.8 days, almost 16 days.
Okay, so nearly 16 days of error built up over that time.
Correct. Now, when we apply this correction independently to a hypothetical date, let's say September 20, 27 AD, which falls nicely within our sidereal corrected window we just established.
Well, that 27.5 AD window.
It shifts that date forward by precisely 15.8 days. This recalibration doesn't just give us a window, it points to a specific day. It precisely aligns the date to October 5, 27 AD.
October 5th, 27 AD. So if this Julian calendar correction is right, we're not just narrowing the year, we're landing smack on October 5th. And you hinted earlier, this isn't just any day, right? What's the real punch of that specific date?
That's exactly it. Because for anyone familiar with the Jewish calendar, October 5th, 27 AD is not just a date, it's Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement.
Wow, okay. That feels significant.
It's profoundly significant. Think about that. One of the most sacred, solemn days of the entire Jewish year, a day for deep introspection, repentance, seeking forgiveness. The math, Miller argues, literally points to the heart of their spiritual calendar.
That's incredible.
It is. But before we dive deeper into that profound significance, let's bolster this convergence with two more independent proofs, because Miller isn't just relying on the Earth's spin and calendar math.
Right, two more vectors to go. It's already incredible to think that the very mechanics of our planet, along with the quirks of our ancient calendars, could point us so precisely to this window, this specific date. But what if, on top of all that, actual celestial fireworks, real events in the sky, also painted the same picture?
This leads us directly to our third independent vector: eclipse cadence and the undeniable testimony of the cosmos itself.
Eclipses, okay, that's tangible.
Very tangible.
Ah.
Solar eclipses are not random cosmic accidents. They are highly predictable events following precise, repeating rhythms dictated by the orbits of the Earth, Moon, and Sun.
It happened in cycles, right?
Exactly. They repeat approximately every 2,599 days, which is about 7.12 years. This forms patterns like the famous Saros cycle. This cadence is well cataloged, mathematically repeatable, and therefore an incredibly reliable timestamp in history if you can connect an event to one.
So you can look back and know exactly when eclipses occurred.
With modern astronomy, yes, with great accuracy. Miller's research leverages this, specifically using data from sources like NASA's eclipse catalogs to identify specific historical eclipses that fall within the corrected chronological window we've begun to uncover.
And do you find any?
Two key eclipses stand out as direct celestial corroboration. The first is a documented solar eclipse on February 6, 26 AD. The second is another significant solar eclipse on January 26, 27 AD.
Okay, so early 26 AD and early 27 AD.
Exactly. Both of these literal astronomical markers, these observable events in the sky, fall squarely within the sidereal drift-corrected window and the Julian-adjusted time frame we've identified. They provide powerful, independent, and verifiable timestamps for this recalibrated chronology.
That's fascinating. So we're not just talking about theoretical calculations of drift, but actual observable events in the sky that back up this 26-27 AD window.
Precisely. And what's truly remarkable here is how these eclipses might offer a forensic explanation for accounts in the Gospels.
You mean the darkness of midday during the crucifixion?
Exactly that. For centuries, this has often been interpreted as, a miraculous sign or perhaps symbolic allegorical language.
Supernatural event.
Right. However, with the recalibrated timeline, placing the event potentially in 27 AD, and these documented eclipses happening around that time, well, it suddenly provides a literal celestial mechanics-based explanation for the observed darkness. An eclipse would cause darkness at midday.
So it potentially transforms a metaphorical or miraculous phrase into verifiable astronomical testimony.
That's the implication Miller draws. It gives a concrete, observable explanation rooted in the predictable laws of the universe itself. Imagine having ancient texts suddenly potentially confirmed, not by finding a potsherd, but by modern astronomical catalogs showing a celestial event that perfectly matches the description at the right time.
Okay, that adds another really strong layer. So we have the Earth's rotation, the flaws in our human calendars, and actual verifiable celestial events all pointing to this very specific time frame.
Three independent lines converging.
But what if, on top of all that, human historical records, the geopolitical landscape of the time, also painted the same picture? Let's see how earthly power structures align with these cosmic clocks.
This leads us, logically, to our fourth and final independent vector in this part: historical governance and political timestamping.
Roman records?
Exactly. While celestial mechanics provide universal constants, human history, especially Roman history, also offers its own robust, verifiable records for this period. Roman historical archives provide a pretty firm framework for understanding the era, and they firmly place Pontius Pilate's governorship in Judea from 26 AD to 36 AD.
Okay, so that's a definite 10-year window.
A clear, documented window within which any major event under his jurisdiction, such as the Crucifixion, must have occurred. Can't be earlier than 26, can't be later than 36, based on Pilate being involved.
Makes sense. But can we get more specific than that decade?
Well, ancient Roman records often use regnal years, counting from the reign of the emperor, to pinpoint specific events within a governor's tenure. It was a standard way of dating things.
Like saying in the 5th year of King so-and-so.
Precisely. In this case, the reigning emperor was Tiberius. His co-reign with Augustus began in 12 AD, which is a well-established historical fact.
Okay, starting point 12 AD.
Right. Now, if you meticulously count forward from Tiberius's co-reign, Pilate's 15th year in office a year, sometimes mentioned in relation to key events, aligns precisely with 27 AD.
Not 26, not 28, but exactly 27 AD for his 15th year.
Exactly 27 AD. This isn't an approximation. It's a specific year derived from the established Roman administrative chronology.
So we have the broad window for Pilate's governorship, 26-36 AD, but then a very specific marker for his 15th year landing right on 27 AD, which would have been a significant reference point for dating events during that period.
Correct. And what's critical to understand here is that this geopolitical timestamp, Pilate's 15th year being 27 AD, independently supports the convergence identified by the other three vectors: the sidereal drift, the eclipse cadence, and the Julian calendar adjustment.
It's a completely separate line of evidence.
Totally separate. Drawn from human historical records, the meticulously kept administrative logs of the Roman Empire, yet it perfectly reinforces the 26-27 AD timeframe that the cosmic and calendrical corrections have already pointed towards.
It's like finding that fourth piece of the puzzle, and it fits perfectly with the other three, even though it came from a completely different box.
That's a great way to put it. So just to summarize this really remarkable convergence here in part 2, we have 4 distinct independent lines of evidence.
Let's recap.
1, the subtle but cumulative sidereal drift of the Earth's rotation. 2, the systemic, measurable error of the Julian calendar. 3, the predictable rhythm and documented occurrences of solar eclipses. And 4, the precise historical records of Roman governance under Pontius Pilate, specifically his 15th year.
And all of them.
All of these vectors, when forensically analyzed and corrected according to Miller's hypothesis, point unequivocally to the window of 26-27 AD, with that astonishing precision converging on October 5, 27 AD.
It's a truly multi-layered alignment, hard to just dismiss as coincidence.
Very difficult, Miller would argue. The convergence itself is the core piece of evidence.
This is truly astonishing. Okay, part 3, we've used astronomy, calendars, Roman history, all pointing to this razor-sharp date, October 5, 27 AD. But Andrew Miller's research doesn't stop there, does it? It goes much, much further.
Not at all. This is where it gets even deeper.
Revealing this profound overlay of sacred cycles and covenantal meaning that adds incredible depth and significance, particularly regarding Jewish and Hebrew tradition. This isn't just a change of date. It seems to be a date laden with profound, maybe even divinely orchestrated meaning.
Precisely. Let's really delve into what this specific date means within the Jewish calendar and tradition, starting with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement.
Which you mentioned earlier as the result of the Julian correction.
Exactly. You'll recall that the 15.8-day correction from the Julian calendar drift precisely shifted that hypothetical September 2027 AD date to October 5, 27 AD. And this corrected date, October 5, 27 AD, precisely aligns with Yom Kippur.
Not just a holy day, but arguably the holiest day in the entire Jewish calendar.
Absolutely. For anyone unfamiliar, Yom Kippur is an incredibly solemn and sacred day. It's about deep repentance, both communal and individual forgiveness, profound spiritual purification. Historically, it's the day the Jewish people seek atonement for the sins of the past year, a moment of intense spiritual introspection and renewal.
And it doesn't stand alone in the calendar, does it?
No, it's part of a sequence. Yom Kippur always follows Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, by 10 days. These 10 days are known as the Days of Awe, a period of intense reflection, of turning back towards God, culminating in Yom Kippur.
So the convergence on October 5, 27 AD places the event not just on a supremely holy day, but right at the climax of this annual period of profound spiritual reckoning and renewal.
Exactly, at the very turn of the Jewish year cycle. But the convergences, incredibly, don't stop there. This is where Miller's work truly connects the cosmic with the covenantal.
Okay, what else lines up?
Traditional Jewish reckoning, which involves tracing meticulous 50-year cycles originating all the way back from the Exodus event, independently identifies the period of 2627 AD as a Jubilee year.
A Jubilee year. Okay, remind us what that signifies. It's a big deal, right?
A huge deal. The Jubilee year is an ancient sacred cycle described right in the Torah, specifically in Leviticus chapter 25. It occurs every 50 years, and it's a time of immense social, economic, and spiritual significance.
It's about release, isn't it?
Yes. Release from debts, freedom for slaves, and perhaps most crucially, the restoration of ancestral lands to their original families. It represents a profound societal reset, a return to divine order and equity, a clean slate for the whole nation.
So it's not just a religious holiday, but an entire year dedicated to this profound fundamental reset for the nation, a massive event.
Exactly. It's an overarching societal and spiritual reset button mandated in their scriptures. And here's the crucial point that ties it all together with the date.
Come on.
A Jubilee year is triggered only on Yom Kippur.
Seriously, it has to start on that specific day. Explicitly stated, Leviticus 25, verse 9. Then you shall sound the loud trumpet on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the Day of Atonement you shall sound the trumpet throughout all your land. The sounding of the shofar, the ram's horn, on Yom Kippur inaugurates the Jubilee year.
Okay, wait. So Miller's hypothesis is pointing to October 5th, 27 AD. That's Yom Kippur. And 27 AD is independently calculated as a Jubilee year. And the Jubilee starts on Yom Kippur.
You've got it. It's a truly breathtaking triadic convergence on that single date. October 5, 27 AD. You have a Jewish New Year period, Rosh Hashanah leading into it. You have the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur itself. And you have the trigger for a Jubilee year of release.
That's almost unbelievable, the layers of significance.
It completely reframes the potential meaning. This isn't just a change of date. It's a fundamental reinterpretation of the event's significance. The crucifixion, if it occurred on this precise date, is no longer merely seen as a punishment or just a tragic historical event.
It becomes something else entirely. It's reinterpreted through this lens as a covenantal release. A divinely timed cosmic reset, a profound act of release and restoration embedded within the deepest, most sacred cycles of Jewish tradition. It aligns the event with concepts of atonement, forgiveness, and freedom on a scale far beyond individual experience, extending to the very fabric of society and potentially humanity's relationship with the divine, all timed to perfection.
How does this incredible alignment, the astronomical correction leading directly to these most sacred of Jewish days and cycles, how does that reframe your understanding, you the listener, of this pivotal event from both a theological and historical perspective?
It really forces you to reconsider.
It really asks us to consider the intricate dance between cosmic timing and spiritual meaning, suggesting a much deeper, more intentional pattern at play. It's almost as if the universe itself was signaling this moment for millennia through multiple independent channels. Okay, part 4. This is already mind-bending. The idea that all these different threads, astronomical, calendrical, historical, sacred, weave together to point to such a specific date, October 5th, 27 AD, and that date carries such immense sacred weight. It's profound. It paints a picture of history far more intricately designed than we usually imagine.
It definitely challenges a purely random view of history.
But the deepest and maybe the most controversial insight from Andrew Miller's work is how this cosmic realignment completely recontextualizes one of history's most infamous and, frankly, vilified figures, Judas Iscariot.
This is where the narrative shifts dramatically indeed. This brings in what Miller terms the Judas realignment hypothesis.
Judas realignment. Okay.
To understand this, we need to quickly revisit an ancient, grander cosmological concept known as the Great Year.
We touched on the huge 25,920-year cycle.
Exactly. Ancient civilizations, particularly adept star watchers, observed over millennia this massive cosmic cycle caused by the slow wobble of the Earth's axis, the precession of the equinoxes, like a spinning top tilting slowly.
Right, and it makes the constellations appear to shift backwards over long periods.
Precisely. This wobble causes the spring equinox point to slowly shift backwards against the backdrop of the zodiacal constellations. This vast great year cycle was traditionally divided into 12 ages, each lasting approximately 2,160 years.
Like the age of Pisces, where we've supposedly been transitioning towards the age of Aquarius.
Exactly those ages. And for these ancient observers, especially those with a deep esoteric understanding, these 12 ages were often symbolically represented by the 12 disciples. each age, each disciple perhaps, representing a specific cosmic influence or character.
Okay, connecting the cosmic cycle to the disciples.
Right. Now remember the error of the stars we discussed.
Humanity's timeline drifting out of sync with the heavens.
Yes. By Jesus' time, Miller's hypothesis suggests human calendars had indeed slipped significantly, creating this error of the stars. It wasn't just a technical timing error, it was a fundamental mismatch, where the heavens were aligned with their cosmic order, but the human timeline had drifted out of sync. This potentially threatened to push humanity into deep disharmony with cosmic law. And this concept, this celestial misalignment, is even described in non-canonical texts.
Wait, which ones?
Specifically, the Gnostic Gospel of Judas.
The Gnostic Gospel of Judas. Some listeners might not be familiar with that. Could you give us just a brief overview of what it is and why it's so pivotal to Miller's theory here?
Of course. The Gnostic Gospel of Judas is an ancient text, non-canonical, meaning it's not part of the traditional Bible. It was rediscovered relatively recently, mid-20th century, part of a collection of Gnostic scriptures.
And it tells a different story about Judas.
Radically different. Unlike the canonical Gospels, which portray Judas as, well, the ultimate traitor driven by greed, this Gnostic text presents him as the only disciple who truly understands Jesus' secret teachings. Jesus actually confides in Judas, revealing a deeper hidden purpose for his actions.
So not the villain?
Not the villain in this version. This text is pivotal because it offers this completely alternative narrative for Judas's role, one which aligns remarkably well with Miller's cosmic realignment hypothesis. It treats Judas's actions as potentially preordained, a necessary part of a bigger divine plan.
Okay, so how does Judas fit into Miller's framework with this Gnostic perspective?
Well, here's where Judas enters this cosmic drama. The hypothesis suggests that Jesus, with profound foresight understanding these vast cosmic cycles and the error of the stars, knew that his governorship, let's say the influence of his age or the epoch he represented, wouldn't align properly with heaven's perfect order unless it was cut short at a precise critical moment.
The age needed correcting, essentially.
Yes. And Judas, in this radical reinterpretation, is presented not as a betrayer in the traditional sense, but as the 13th mini-age.
The 13th, like outside the 12th.
Exactly. A crucial, necessary corrective patch designed specifically to realign humanity's record, humanity's timeline, with heaven's true, overarching cosmic order, to fix the error of the stars.
And the Gnostic Gospel supports this idea.
Powerfully so. This role for Judas is underscored by Jesus' own words to Judas found in that Gnostic Gospel. Jesus tells Judas quite explicitly, "You will become the 13th," signifying his unique, essential role outside the traditional 12.
Wow.
He also warns him, "You will be cursed by the other generations," seeming to anticipate the historical vilification Judas would endure for millennia. But crucially, Jesus also adds, "The star that leads the way is your star."
Implying a specific destiny, a cosmic role.
That's the interpretation. It implies a specific, divinely appointed cosmic destiny for Judas. This reframes Judas's traditionally understood betrayal as a preordained, maybe even sacred, necessary act within a much larger cosmic plan.
So Judas's act of handing Jesus over wasn't a malicious betrayal driven by, say, 30 pieces of silver, but a prearranged cosmic collaboration that completely flips the script on one of the most ingrained narratives in history.
It does, entirely. In Miller's hypothesis, Judas's action of handing Jesus over is reinterpreted as this cosmic collaboration, not simple treachery. By doing so at that specific time, Judas ensured that the crucifixion occurred at the precise cosmic crossroad.
October 5, 27 AD, Yom Kippur. Jubilee year.
All of it, that precise nexus. This act, therefore, became the pivotal moment that essentially reset the cosmic cycle, correcting the error of the stars and ensuring that future ages, like the transition from Pisces to Aquarius, would remain in sync with heaven's immutable order.
So without Judas acting exactly then, the misalignment might have continued, getting worse.
That's the implication. The error of the stars might have perpetuated, potentially leading to further cosmic and human misalignment, maybe even catastrophe down the line.
So in this profound new light, Judas is completely recast. Not a villain, but a short.
A cosmic gatekeeper, Miller suggests, a restorer of alignment. His traditional curse as traitor then becomes a kind of veil, a necessary misdirection maybe, concealing his true, essential cosmic role in preventing humanity from drifting wildly out of sync with the celestial clock.
That's a lot to take in.
It is, and it's even speculated within Miller's broader framework that the vivid, often apocalyptic imagery in the book of Revelation.
Yeah, the destruction, silence, rebirth.
Right. That it might actually be describing this grand realignment event a cyclical understanding of cosmic renewal and correction, rather than exclusively predicting a singular future apocalypse. It suggests history isn't just linear, but deeply interwoven with these grander cycles of correction and rebirth.
How challenging is it for you, the listener, to reevaluate such a deeply ingrained historical narrative, to reconsider the character of Judas based on this framework?
It's a huge ask.
It really asks us to look beyond conventional interpretations and consider a universe where every action, even though seemingly negative and reviled for millennia, might serve a profound cosmic purpose, a purpose meticulously timed by the very movements of the heavens. Okay, part 5. This deep dive into Andrew Miller's hypothesis truly reveals this tapestry of interconnected cosmic cycles. The recalculation of the crucifixion event isn't presented as some isolated incident, right? It's part of a much larger, ongoing cosmic drama.
Exactly. It has ripple effects through time, potentially even to our present moment. It suggests the universe operates on these intricate, layered clocks.
So how does he contextualize this within even brighter cycles?
To put this into a wider cosmic context, Miller introduces what he calls the wheel-in-the-wheel hypothesis.
Wheels within wheels. Sounds familiar. Like Ezekiel.
Precisely the resonance. Imagine the zodiac, which we typically perceive as a sequence of constellations moving forward. Aries to Taurus, Taurus to Gemini, and so on, right?
The familiar order.
This is what he calls the outer wheel. It represents the cultural labels, the astrological ages we've given to these celestial divisions. It's the order we usually think of.
Okay, the outer wheel goes forward.
But then you have the inner wheel. This is driven by a completely different force. The Earth's axial wobble, the precession of the equinoxes we keep mentioning.
The slow backwards drift.
Right. This motion causes the point of the spring equinox to slowly shift retrograde through the zodiac. So the true underlying order of the ages under precession is actually Pisces to Aquarius, Aquarius to Capricorn, and so on.
The exact reverse of the outer wheel's perceived progression.
Exactly. So you have one wheel, the constellations in their sequence, moving forward in our perception and cultural understanding, and another wheel, the actual physical shift of the equinoxes, moving backward against that backdrop.
That sounds like a cosmic paradox.
Yeah.
A wheel moving backwards inside a wheel moving forwards.
It is an optical paradox, as Miller describes it. But unlike, say, planetary retrograde motion, which is mostly an optical illusion from our vantage point, this precessional reversal is a physical reality caused by the Earth's slow wobble over thousands of years.
And this connects to ancient myths.
What's utterly fascinating is how this concept seems to echo through ancient myths and prophecies, suggesting they had an intuitive grasp of this celestial mechanics. You mentioned Ezekiel's vision of wheels within wheels, moving in complex, interlocking ways. Think also of the Greek myth of Kronos, or Saturn, devouring his children and then vomiting them up in reverse order.
Never thought of it that way.
Miller posits that the Judas realignment we just discussed functions as a crucial correction point, where these two wheels, the cultural human timeline, outer wheel, and the true cosmic processional rhythm, inner wheel, clash or risk grinding against each other. The crucifixion, timed precisely, ensured proper alignment between them, preventing the cosmic gears from getting jammed, essentially.
So it keeps the whole cosmic clockwork running smoothly.
That's the idea. It's not just a static zodiac. It's a dynamic, interlocking cosmic clock that requires periodic recalibration.
Okay, that's one broader cycle. What else?
Building on this, Miller also introduces the 30-degree pole position transition hypothesis, which suggests ongoing, potentially accelerating cosmic shifts.
Pole position. Like the North Pole shifting.
Related to that, yes. Within the big 25,920-year Great Year, each 30 degrees zodiacal age lasts about 20,160 years. This means the Earth's poles shift approximately 30 degrees relative to the ecliptic plane over that time, which averages out to about 72 years per degree of shift. A slow, steady drift, mostly.
Okay, steady rate.
Mostly. However, Miller's hypothesis suggests that as the pole approaches a 30-degree threshold, marking the boundary between one age and the next, the rate of drift actually accelerates.
So it's not perfectly linear. It speeds up as it nears a critical transition point. Like magnets getting closer, the pull intensifies.
Exactly, that's a perfect analogy he uses. Like magnets drawing together faster as the distance closes, or perhaps violently repelling until some external force snaps them into a new alignment. This increasing instability, he suggests, could culminate in a rapid, potentially more dramatic, even catastrophic snap event.
A quicker, more turbulent realignment when one age is ending and the next is beginning.
Precisely. A period of heightened cosmic tension and potential for rapid change, not just slow drift.
Does he offer any evidence or timing for this?
He provides an empirical anchor, though interpretations can vary. Starting from a 0-degree reference marker established around 1900 for tracking this pole shift, the observed pole drift by roughly 2025 has covered approximately 19 degrees of the current 30-degree segment.
Okay, so we're past the halfway point of this segment.
Well into it. With roughly 5 degrees left before reaching a significant threshold for this current age, based on current observed rates of drift, Miller calculates that the 30-degree threshold could potentially be reached around 2040.
2040, that's not very far away.
No. It suggests the period of potentially building urgency and instability, maybe particularly in the 2030-2035 timeframe as that threshold gets closer. Now, this is hypothesis, of course, but like the others, it attempts to align astronomical mechanics with other historical and prophetic timing patterns.
Reinforcing the idea that these cosmic cycles, human history, covenantal markers, they often converge within specific critical windows of time.
Exactly. And it suggests that these cosmic corrections aren't just historical events in the distant past, but potentially ongoing processes impacting our present and very near future, with potentially measurable effects.
That's a powerful and perhaps unsettling thought, that we might be living through one of these accelerated phases right now. It connects the deep past to our very immediate future. But Miller's work also brings this grand cosmic alignment down to a deeply personal level, doesn't it? It's not all just stars and poles.
It does beautifully. Finally, we turn our gaze inward with the concept Miller highlights, the mind as lamp.
The mind as lamp. Where does that come from?
This connects the external cosmic alignment to our inner human experience, drawing from ancient Gnostic wisdom. In the Dialogue of the Savior, another ancient Gnostic text, Jesus tells his disciples something profound. The lamp of the body is the mind. If the things inside you are set in order, your body will be luminous.
If the things inside you were set in order, that's about inner harmony, right?
Exactly. It's a profound statement about achieving inner order and integration.
How does that compare to, say, the more familiar Bible verse?
Well, this Gnostic perspective presents a fascinating contrast with the more familiar passage from Matthew's Gospel, which states, "The eye is the lamp of the body."
Right, focusing on how we see the world.
Matthew emphasizes outer perception, how we view the world. But the Gnostic perspective, as highlighted by Miller, shifts the emphasis from outer perception to inner order. It suggests the mind's ability to achieve integration and harmony is the true source of light and revelation. It's about organizing your internal world.
So just as a calendar can be misaligned with the cosmos, leading to historical confusion, our own internal calendars, our minds, can also be out of sync, disordered.
Precisely. The parallelism Miller draws is striking. Just as a misaligned calendar, riddled with the error of the stars, could throw an entire age, an entire civilization into confusion and maybe spiritual darkness, a misaligned mind, disordered thoughts and emotions, can throw a person into internal darkness and discord.
And both require fixing, realignment.
Exactly. Both, therefore, require a deliberate and conscious realignment for illumination, for true understanding to occur. It's a powerful call for self-reflection, for seeking inner harmony, for bringing one's internal state into alignment with universal truths, whatever those may be for the individual.
So this is where the external cosmic ledger directly connects with your internal ledger.
That's the connection, a mirroring between the macrocosm and the microcosm. Finding order within reflects, or maybe even enables perception of, the order without.
Okay, part 6, wrapping this all up. So what does this all mean for us, the listeners, as we try to make sense of this truly extraordinary deep dive? We've seen this intricate, multi-layered web of evidence.
A complex tapestry.
Yeah, all pointing to a profound redating of history and this radical reinterpretation of pivotal events and figures. It's like watching disparate pieces of a complex mechanism suddenly just click into perfect place.
Indeed. What Andrew Miller's work ultimately presents is what he argues is a grand, almost undeniable convergence of multiple independent lines of evidence. Let's just quickly summarize that unified picture one last time.
Good idea. Hit the high points.
First, we have the precise calculations of astronomy, meticulously accounting for sidereal drift and the documented cadence of solar eclipses, the clockwork of the universe.
Check.
Second, the meticulous corrections required for calendrical precision, specifically the Julian calendar error, leading with astonishing accuracy to October 5, 27 AD. Third, This corrected date then aligns beautifully with crucial sacred festivals of the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur and the preceding Rosh Hashanah.
Check.
Fourth, it falls within a significant long-cycle covenant timing, the Jubilee year, independently identified for 27 AD, a time of release.
Check.
Fifth, the anchoring of historical governance, Pontius Pilate's 15th year aligning perfectly with 27 AD from Roman records.
Check.
And finally, sixth, the radical yet compelling reinterpretation of cosmic collaboration through the Judas realignment hypothesis, recasting betrayal as necessary cosmic correction.
Wow, when you lay it out like that.
It's a lot of threads coming together at one single point. And this multi-layered convergence, as Miller rigorously argues, is not merely interpretive or symbolic in nature. He presents it as forensic.
Meaning based on evidence, on calculation?
Yes. Mathematically mandated, he would say, and publicly verifiable. The calculations of sidereal drift, the NASA eclipse data, the documented calendar drift, the Roman historical records, the timing of Jewish sacred cycles. He argues all of these are public, repeatable, and verifiable data points.
Not hidden knowledge.
Not esoteric secrets, but observable phenomena and historical facts available for scrutiny.
So he's essentially saying the evidence isn't hidden, it's right there for anyone to examine. And because of that transparency, the burden of proof kind of shifts.
Exactly. Because of the open, verifiable nature of this evidence, Miller asserts that the burden of disproof now shifts to skeptics.
Right. It's no longer enough to just dismiss it based on tradition or preference.
Or just saying that can't be right. The challenge, as he lays it out, is to scientifically and mathematically disprove this precise, multi-layered convergence presented in his work. The challenge is to show where the math is wrong in his calculation, where the astronomical data he uses is flawed, or where the historical records have been fundamentally misinterpreted within his framework from his own self-contained research.
So engage with the data, not just the conclusion.
Precisely. This analysis, therefore, provides what he sees as a new forensic standard for recalibrating historical events where celestial and calendrical records intersect. And its implications, if true, extend far beyond theology.
Into cosmology history, how we even know things.
Exactly. Cosmology, history, epistemology fundamentally changing how we might approach understanding the past. He puts it so succinctly with that undeniable clarity. The sky is not metaphor. It is ledger.
A powerful line.
It demands that we look at the heavens not just for poetic inspiration, but for precise, undeniable, and eternally recorded data. A cosmic accounting book.
Wow. Okay. We've journeyed through astronomical mechanics, ancient calendars, Roman history, sacred Jewish cycles, even that radical reinterpretation of Judas Iscariot, all guided by Andrew Miller's profound Cosmic Correction and Convergence hypothesis. A work stemming from deep, intuitive insight, as he presents it, into the universe's own ledger.
It's certainly a comprehensive and thought-provoking framework.
A core takeaway here, for me at least, is this audacious yet strangely compelling idea that history, especially events traditionally viewed through a purely symbolic or allegorical lens, can be forensically recalibrated. Recalibrated by the undeniable, measurable movements of the heavens.
Leading to that date.
Culminating in a date, October 5, 27 AD, that isn't just mathematically precise in his model, but is also laden with that deep covenantal meaning, particularly within Jewish tradition. It really suggests an intentional design woven into the very fabric of time.
A convergence that's hard to ignore, whether you fully accept the interpretation or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you, our listener, reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this. How many other historical moments might be waiting out there to be precisely redated, simply by listening more closely to the celestial ledger above us?
What other assumptions might be slightly off?
Exactly. What other errors of the stars, big or small, might be impacting our understanding of the past, and maybe even our anticipation of the future? What if the universe has been patiently waiting for us to catch up to its own immutable clock?
A fascinating final thought.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, offered a fresh and, importantly, an unbiased perspective on this intricate dance between cosmos, calendar, and human history, all based on Andrew Miller's unique hypothesis. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey to rethink time itself.